15 miles east of the city of Bangalore, on the railway line to Madras, lies Whitefield, where Sai Baba has a residence called Brindavan. Here at Brindavan, Sai Baba walks daily among those who gather on the grounds of the compound as he gives darshan, translated as the sight and presence of a holy man. This constant accessibility is a welcome surprise to those who come expecting a figure of such towering spirituality to be remote and somehow unapproachable. While accepting letters asking for help and guidance, both physical and spiritual, he emphasizes repeatedly that he wants nothing from them but love. By a gentle wave of his hand, Sai Baba materializes vibhuti, giving it as a blessing and for healing. Sai Baba says,
"Come to me with empty hands. I shall fill them with gifts and grace. If your hands are full, what am I to fill them with? Bring to me all the evil in you, and leaving that here, take from me what I have, love. Learn the capacity to see all as moved and motivated by one supreme God. Why fear when I am here? All your sins are forgiven the moment you get my darshan. I shall carry all your burdens. Take as much bliss as you can from me, and leave with me all your sorrows."
Adjacent to the residence is the Sathya Sai College of Arts, Science and Commerce for Men. It is here that the nationwide education program begun in the late 1960s is flourishing. The construction of these schools and colleges is financed by a central educational trust established through the State Bank of India, which accepts contributions solely for this purpose. This college is the nucleus of a growing number of educational facilities throughout the country. In the years since opening, the Sai colleges have come to be acknowledged among India's finest. The students regularly rank predominantly in the yearly national achievement exams. Sai Baba's educational program is for future citizens who will live not as monastics or hermits, but as householders, conducting the affairs of the world. He sees the future of India tied to a renaissance in education. Much of his own time has been devoted to the establishment of elementary schools and colleges.
These students will be able to take their places as future leaders of India, equipped to bring India's masses out of poverty and disease. The character of the children must be made strong and pure. Give them all the confidence and courage they need to become good, honest, self-reliant children. It is not enough if they learn something by which they can make a living. The manner of living is more important than the standard of living.
At the inauguration of the College of Arts and Science for Women at Anantapur in 1971, Sai Baba said,
"This is a college, an institution that imparts education and prepares the rising generation to be better women and better citizens. Education must open the eyes and enable them to recognize the one behind the many. When that one is known, the many can be known easily and clearly. Pursue the vast, the cosmic, the all-inclusive truth. Do not be satisfied with paltry, trivial scraps of information. Seek the knower behind the knowing process. That is the real victory."
While speaking to a group of students visiting the ashram, Baba said,
"You must learn to become a new type of leader who has passed through the crucible of service as a devotion, as a spiritual practice. Leaders who have passed through school and college and mastered the problems of the present and the future in the light of the past. Leaders who appreciate the traditions and culture of this country. Education aims, among other things, at giving instruction in the laws and properties of matter. It must also train the student in a thorough understanding of the laws and constituents of the human personality and promote his power of discrimination. Education is no education unless it extracts the milk of human kindness, kinship, and brotherhood, and makes for a universal diffusion of this feeling, administering at the same time an intensive as well as extensive knowledge of the true nature of man and of human society. Education should also be useful to men and women in their daily lives. A well-disciplined and well-integrated life on the part of students can alone save them and the society from ruin. There is no other remedy. The process of education has become a trade which results in politics without principles, education without character, science without humanity, and commerce without morality, which are useless and positively dangerous. A regular course in the discipline of meditation must also be given so that you may realize the depths of your own personality and its infinite possibilities for ensuring peace and happiness. You must be able to withdraw into yourself and meditate on your own true nature and the truth of that nature. It is the right of every seeker from every land. That is the wealth that will really save man from misery. All the rest are mere shadows, mirages, castles in the air. They drop with the body that valued them.
Sai Baba often presides over the marriage ceremonies of devotees. Here, he materializes from his hand the sacred symbolic thread as part of the ceremony.
Before getting married, each of your love was separate. Now, all of your love will come together and blossom for the better. Marriage means your life, not just a few days, weeks, or years. God has created this union of marriage. It is for self-control that two individuals get married. It is to kill the ego that two souls are brought together so they can learn to adjust to one another and forget their egos. The most important thing is understanding. Then adjustment becomes something very easy later on. Both of you have got to understand each other. Do not think in the past. Live in the moment and do one's best. This is a sacred bond, and it is a promise you are making to each other because wife is half of husband, and husband is half of the wife. Half plus half is not two but one. Before marriage, you were an individual I. Now you are not I, but we. In all difficulties, all joy, all sorrow, and in all the pleasures of life, you are not individualized. Now I plus I becomes we. We. This is the real sacred promise. Today, there is the tendency of separation, not coming together. Life is full of troubles, of challenges. You should not separate because of that, but rather face them together. Now when trouble comes, even if it is small trouble, it causes separation. That should not be the tendency. One should adjust. This is giving one's heart to the other.
Love and not lust is the essence of happy life. Start the day with love, fill the day with love, spend the day with love, end the day with love. This is the way to God.
Sai Baba repeatedly emphasizes the unity underlying the religions of the world.
Let the different faiths exist. Let them flourish. Let the glory of God be sung in all the languages in a variety of tunes. That should be the ideal. Respect the differences between the faiths and recognize them as valid so far as they do not extinguish the flame of unity. I have not come to speak on behalf of any particular religion. I have not come on any mission of publicity for any sect or creed or cause, nor have I come to collect followers for any doctrine. I have come to tell you of this universal unitary faith, this path of love, this duty of love, this obligation to love.
A number of spiritual festivals are celebrated at the ashram. This parade, from Prasanthi Nilayam to nearby Puttaparthi, complete with musicians and a visiting troupe of performers, marks the installation of silver images of Vishnu and Shiva in the village. In the West, India is believed to have many gods, while in fact, Vedanta acknowledges one God with limitless attributes. The qualities, when singled out for reverence or praise, are given individual names and forms. Nevertheless, they are still part of the one boundless God. The image of Vishnu, the Lord as preserver and protector, who is all-pervading, who incarnates in succeeding ages to protect the righteous and uplift the fallen. And Shiva, the aspect of God engaged in the emergence, disintegration, and destruction of the universe, he who signifies auspiciousness, happiness, and prosperity.
There is only one God, and he is omnipresent. But to concentrate on the omnipresent, some fixed point or preliminary form is needed. And to conceive of the divine as present everywhere at all times, the mind of man is to be clarified and purified by means of certain psychological processes called sadhanas. This is the reason why not only among the followers of Hinduism, but even among Christians and Buddhists, regular rituals are prescribed for the worship of images of God. Cynics question the validity of the type of adoration and say it will only confirm faith in a superstition. Can God be a stone or a piece of paper, they ask? This attitude is not correct. By adhering to the traditionally laid down ritual worship, many aspirants have attained the vision of the omnipresent and stayed in that incommunicable bliss. The omnipresent is not absent in the icon or the picture. We do not reduce God and shut him up in a stone image. We affirm and realize that he is in the icon also. We raise the image to the dimensions of the absolute. We expand the picture far beyond its frame, and through the processes of sadhana, we become aware that the picture too can be made a tool for the mind to escape from its limitations.
After the installation of the images, the procession returns to the ashram. The birth of Christ is another holy day that is celebrated at Sai Baba's residence, illuminating his teaching that truth is one, and all faiths are facets of that truth. Christianity and Hinduism share the imagery of the Lord tending his human flock. Jesus Christ as the herder of the sheep of Israel, and Lord Krishna as the cowherd boy of Brindavan. It was during one such Christmas celebration that Sai Baba spoke about Christ.
Jesus was a master born with a purpose, the mission of restoring love, charity, and compassion in the heart of man. He had no attachment to the self. He never paid heed to sorrow or pain, joy or gain. He had a heart that responded to the call of anguish, the cry for peace and brotherhood. He went about the land preaching the lesson of love and poured out his life as a libation in the sacrifice to humanity. He searched for the divine in the objective world in nature. But he soon realized that nature is a kaleidoscope picture created by one's own imagination, and sought God within himself. Here in India, his stay in the Himalayan monasteries brought him greater success. From the attitude of being a messenger of God, he declared that he was the Son of God. Later, as the Atma consciousness became stabilized, Jesus could declare, "I and my Father are one."
The physical objects manifested by Sathya Sai Baba frequently represent the religion or belief of the recipient. Dr. John Hislop, head of the Sathya Sai Council of the Americas, relates an experience when Sai Baba created a unique crucifix and presented it to him.
We were in India in the Bandipur forest at the time of Mahashivaratri, and Swami was driving around through the forest with several people to locate a place where the ceremony could be held. And we finally found a dry river bottom, and that evening we all came back again, got out of the cars and started to walk down the slope of the hill towards the dry river bottom. I happened to be walking beside Swami, and we passed a small bush. And Swami picked off 2 twigs and held them in the form of a cross like that, and said, "Hislop, what is that?" I said, "Well, Swami, it's a cross." So he then put the 2 twigs in his hand like that, and blew 3 times on his hand, and opened his hand, and there was this cross that you see here on the back of my hand. He said, "This is Christ as he really and truly was, not as artists and historians have pictured him. His stomach's all drawn in through several days of no food and so on." So I looked at it, and I said, "Well, Swami, what is that hole at the top of the cross?" He said, "That is the hole that was made in the cross to hang the cross on a standard." And he said, "Furthermore, the wood of the cross is a piece of the actual cross upon which Christ was crucified." Then he added, and I can tell you it took a little time and trouble to find a piece of that wood after some 2,000 years.
Author and parapsychologist Frank G. Baronowski, affiliated with 4 Arizona colleges, is a scientist who has explored the auras that form the biomagnetic field around the human body. As seen in this example of Carillion photography, the aura presents a clear picture which can be analyzed as to the health, energy level, and emotional state of the individual.
I came to India from America. A scientist, a researcher, studying the human aura. I've heard so much about Sathya Sai Baba from many of my intellectual colleagues, presidents of universities, physicians, psychiatrists, people who have come and touched in and have never been the same since. I have heard so much about what he is able to do, his abilities to heal, his abilities to be able to contact people telepathically to help them. Now, I saw him on a Sunday morning. very early. He was on a balcony giving blessings to many of his devotees singing below. And the aura that projected from Swami was beyond belief. It was incredible to describe. Now the white was 5 to 6 to 7 times the size of any normal man, which would show the energy. But beyond that pattern, the blue, that intense spiritual blue, was well, it was limitless. Beyond that were gold and silver bands, and the aura that projected from Swami was not that of any human individual that I've ever seen. In fact, it transcended far beyond the building, the boundaries of where he was standing. I watched Sai Baba for over a week as he walked among the people, the morning and the evening, and I watched this aura. Now, the aura, most of the time when he was with people, though the bands of blue were there, signifying the spirituality, the bands of pink were far beyond any human imagination. Pink, to a researcher, shows a limitless, selfless love. And I watched as he walked up to people and sometimes touched them. And the amazing thing is you could watch the negativity in their aura suddenly come to life with positive feelings as he touched them. And as he walked away, part of his aura, part of his energy had mingled with theirs. His energy seems to be, well, it's endless. He never seems to tire. I watched him as he walked to a little girl in a wheelchair and tickled her. I was astounded at the aura of love that was well around them. Now, it seems that the aura that emanates from Swami definitely shows his love for people. I've met, as I say, a lot of these holy men, but none of them have made themselves as available as he does for his people. I'm risking my reputation as I make this statement, but 2 days ago, I looked into the eyes of Sai Baba. They have a glow inside them that I've not seen in anyone else's. It was clear to me beyond any shadow of a doubt that I have looked into the face of divinity. In my estimation, Sai Baba is exactly what he appears to be, what he wants you to be, and what he tells you to be. Love. And that's what he is. Just love.
Life without desire brings divinity to man, and those who seek my grace must shed desire and greed. Riches provide a fatal temptation. They are the source and cause of human bondage. The desire to raise the standard of life can never be satisfied. It leads to multiplication of wants and consequent troubles and frustrations. Life without desire means the realization of the pure, genuine self that is the soul. Bound to desire, the self degenerates into selfishness. The soul turns into ego. The way to self-realization is to cleanse the self of this ego of selfishness. Then you reach a state of consciousness beyond the mind or intellect, revealing the true self that is God. The mind is like a cloth that covers and stifles consciousness, the threads of which are desires. If we give up the desires, the threads fall and the cloth disappears, revealing our true nature. This is what Vedanta means when it enjoins one must get rid of the ego to realize oneself. One has, therefore, to rise beyond the mind to consciousness to achieve self-realization. To gain the infinite, universal soul, the embodied self must break out of the puny, finite little prison of individuality. Desire belongs to the senses, the brain, the mind. Once you become free of it, you realize the self, Atma, consciousness, enlightenment, and become one with the cosmic power. Self-realization is God-realization. Thus man reaches God. Those who want to understand me are welcome here. It is the spirit of the investigation that is important. I do not call people here so they may bow to a god. I want them to come, see, hear, study, observe, experience, and realize Baba. Then only will they understand me and appreciate the avatar.
Not only has Sathya Sai Baba prophesied the course and duration of his life, he has said that just as he was born 8 years after the death of Shirdi Sai Baba, so his third incarnation, called Prema Sai, will be born 8 years after his own passing.
The previous avatar, Shirdi Baba, laid the base for secular integration and gave mankind the message of duty that is work. The mission of the present avatar is to make everyone realize that since the same God or divinity resides in everyone, people should respect, love, and help each other irrespective of caste, color, or creed. Thus, every work can become an act of worship. Finally, Prema Sai, the third avatar, shall promote the message that not only does God reside in everyone, but everyone himself is God. That will be the final wisdom which will enable every man and woman to rise to be God. In all the universe, there is no other planet that has human life or a similar life form. Human life is very sacred and must be appreciated as having the highest value. All life may aspire to human birth, but only through the human birth may God be realized. Here and now is the opportunity to realize the absolute goal of life. The purpose of this triple incarnation is to unite all mankind into one family with the establishment of the divinity, that is, the Atmic reality, in every man and woman, which is the basis on which the entire cosmic design rests. Once this is realized, the common divine heritage that binds man to man and man to God will become apparent, and love shall prevail as the guiding light of the universe.
There is only one caste, caste of humanity. There is only one religion, religion of love. There is only one God, He is omnipresent,